There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad about, but very wise was he.
In 1861, the Civil War began. The Civil War was a long, bloody battle that killed many, many people, simply because some of them believed it was okay to treat fellow humans like dirt. This is one of the earliest cases of severe discrimination in America. Even though the Civil War was fought mostly for fairness and equality, after the war was over, people still weren't all treated as equals. Some weren't even treated as if they were human. The Civil War did give former slaves the rights they deserved, but it did not end the discrimination in America. The unfair treatment of others continued for many years, and the longer it continued and separate but equal laws were enforced, the more people began to stand up for what was right. Martin Luther King Jr. was a powerful speaker and civil rights activist. His speeches helped spread the idea that discrimination, in all of its forms, is wrong. He gave people hope that they could get through the discrimination and win their rights. Martin Luther King Jr. believed in equality for all and said that we would eventually see the end of the discrimination, and that at that moment, figuratively speaking in biblical words, the morning stars will sing together and the sons of God will shout for joy. The discrimination America had seen with the Civil War did not stop people from still discriminating. The next step towards achieving equality for all was the fight for women's rights. The first step towards women having more rights in America began in 1776 when Abigail Adams wrote to her husband, asking that women were remembered in the writing of the Declaration of Independence. From there were small steps taken toward equality, such as the opening of women's colleges and the Women's Property Act. As time progressed, women were getting more and more rights, and there were meetings and rallies for women's rights as early as 1848, but it took until 1923 for women to have their voices heard and be given their right to vote. As was the case with the Civil War, women still are not treated as complete equals to men. Even now, women get a lower salary than men. Though women still are not considered exactly equal, the right to vote was a major step forward in the history of women's rights. The fight for women's rights was not an actual war, but it still took the time, effort, and passion of women who believed that equality was a necessity. It took over 100 years, but women were gaining rights and coming closer to being equals to men. The fight to legalize gay marriage is not the first battle to try to give two consenting people the right to marry each other, no matter what gender or race they are. There were laws restricting people's rights to marry as early as the 17th century. Back then, there were laws that were passed that were known as miscegenation laws. These laws prevented any marriage between two people of different races. It did not matter if two people loved each other. If one of them was white and the other was Asian, Black, Native American, or any other race other than Caucasian, it was considered criminal for them to get married. In the 1833 court case of Pace v. Alabama, the Supreme Court ruled that anti-miscegenation laws were not unconstitutional because both parties were punished equally for breaking the law against interracial marriage. Anti-miscegenation laws were officially repealed in the 1967 case of Loving v. Virginia, when the Supreme Court ruled that the couple should be allowed to marry, acknowledging that marriage is one of the basic civil rights of man and is fundamental to our very existence and survival. In recent years, gay marriage and rights have become an issue. People nowadays see no connection with this newest civil rights movement and the fights against discrimination in the past. Some reasons that have been raised for laws forbidding gay marriage are things such as it will set the table for polygamy. The problem with this argument is that it won't. This is a logical fallacy, and allowing gay couples to marry is merely different from traditional marriage because it is between two people of the same gender. This should not matter because two people who love each other and will remain loyal and together forever should be able to be married. Another of the arguments is that gay marriage will be taught in schools as equal to traditional marriage. This is apparently an argument against gay marriage, but should be an argument for legalizing gay marriage. One of the values of society is being open and accepting, and this should be taught in schools, just as it is taught that discrimination against someone because of their skin color or religion is wrong. Instead of limiting this to teaching against discrimination because of race, these teachings should be extended to say that all discrimination in all of its forms is wrong. Discrimination violates the Declaration of Independence, which clearly states that citizens have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Another of the arguments raised is the argument that homosexuality is against the Bible. I personally believe in God. I, however, believe that God loves everyone for who they are. He has respect for everyone. He also made us in His own image to love us, and if we are images of God, we should all treat each other with equal respect. You also must remember that the Bible was written hundreds of years ago in the ideals of the society then. As society evolves, so do its ideals, and if the ideals of today are equality and fairness, denying gay couples their right to get married is a blatant violation of these ideals, and the rights endowed to them by the Declaration of Independence and God Himself. Today, people are campaigning just as hard as they have in the past for equality and rights for all. Throughout the years of discrimination, from the Civil War to miscegenation laws, the main argument has been equality and the fair treatment of all humankind. It seems ridiculous that people who have no problem with interracial marriage or women's rights are against gay marriage. It is the same thing America has been fighting for since before the start of the Civil War in 1861, and as has been the case in the fight for civil rights before, gay couples will get their rights and American society will be one step closer to eliminating discrimination, and America will be a better nation for it.